Hey, this is Owen. If you're comfortable, leave your first name and state at the sound of the tiny truck backing up.
Hi, Owen. I just saw this wonderful thing you just released Sunday morning. God Almighty, I'm just stunned. It was just such a beautiful truthfulness to it. But at the same time, I could hear you in the background telling them you're not paying any attention to the first commandment. And I would invite you to start quoting the first commandment, as these people love Trump instead of God.
For reference, the first commandment, of course, is thou shalt not have any other god before me, or some other thing like that. Basically, don't worship any other gods. Weird, considering the fact that there aren't any other gods, right? Why would God tell us not to worship any others if there just straight up aren't any others? A little suspicious there, if you ask me.
It's no longer Christianity without the Christ. It's like, my joke right now is, welcome to the Church of Jesus Christ without the Jesus Christ, where the lame don't walk, the blind don't see, and the dead remain that way forever. That's the church that they have now. It's the Church of Trump. Anyway, I'm waiting for your show tonight. Bye.
Yeah, I appreciate the voicemail. It is a little bit like the Church of Trump, right? That's kind of strange. And in fact, earlier I released a video that I've kind of been talking about for a while. Trump is the Antichrist. Of course, I'm not a Christian. I'm an atheist. But if I were a Christian, I would definitely believe that the dude was the Antichrist. Seriously, he fits all the criteria to a T. So, I don't know. I guess all of these people were deceived and they're okay with that. It's really strange seeing them justify all of their bizarre behavior and beliefs. But we've been doing that all along, haven't we?
Hey, Alan. This is Ivy. I've been watching your videos more recently. I just stumbled across them a little while ago. I was wondering, in older videos on your main channel, you talked about the extremism gradient as an addition to the bite model. And I've noticed more lately I haven't heard that. I don't get a lot of time to watch your full live streams, but I haven't heard a lot about the extremism gradient. Is there something that happened to that, or a reason that you don't talk about it as much anymore? Thanks. Looking forward to hear from you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. No, the extremism gradient is still out there. I put it on my website because I wanted it to kind of be in print rather than just in video form. I just haven't expanded upon it much. I have an outline for a talk and for a book that I want to write about this. I just haven't gotten around to actually doing it yet. The extremism gradient, the idea behind it is, hang on, I'm looking through. I have like PowerPoint presentation on it basically that I was forming into a talk, but I hadn't gotten around to yet. The idea behind the extremism gradient is that there are different levels of cults. There's Jonestown level of cults, Jehovah's Witnesses, Heaven's Gate, and Scientology, and other centralized hierarchical groups that control people from the top down. There's that kind of cult. And then there's another type of cult, the type of thing you find with, say, Donald Trump, where a single figure seems to be calling the shots and defining doctrine and giving people information, and these people may be getting their information elsewhere. Donald Trump followers also watch Fox News and Newsmax and all these other things, but when they hear something that contradicts or goes against Donald Trump, they disregard it and they listen to him specifically. They take his word over any other person. That's a level 2 cult, decentralized and focused. And then there's the third layer, which is level 1 cults. That would be decentralized and non-focused. Things like flat earthers or anti-vaxxers, things like that. I wrote this before COVID actually hit. I think I originally posted this February of 2019, which was a solid year before anybody really started talking about COVID anyway. And I specifically listed some anti-vax stuff that was happening, at the time. Some anti-vax arguments that people had proposed pre-COVID. Anyways, if you wanted to look at the extremism gradient and what I wrote about it, it's at my website, telltaleatheist.com. It's the top stickied post, I believe, the extremism gradient. So just click on extremism gradient, give it a read. And like I said, I am currently working on an outline, or I have an outline. I'm working on writing a book / long form talk about this whole thing. I do want to expand upon it more. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I've been busy. Thank you for bringing that up, though. It's a really interesting question.
Hey, Owen. My name is Michael. Just sitting here watching your most recent Telltale Fireside Chat. I do have a question. It has to do with the shift in the political landscape that happened in the 50s with the election of, the 60s with the election of Kennedy. Do you think that we'll ever see a shift back to where the Republicans become the Democrats and the Democrats become the Republicans?
To answer your first question, I don't think that we're ever going to see that again. You can actually look at charts, which I'll put up on screen. This is a YouTube video called "This 60-second animation shows how divided Congress has become over the last 60 years." I'm going to show you guys some of it, but I'm going to set it up to be like double speed or 1.5 speed just so that we can kind of get through it because it's only a minute long. But check this out and see what you guys think of it. Connections are drawn between pairs that voted together a certain number of times. Okay? This is a Business Insider video, Business Insider YouTube channel. So this is the 81st Congress, 1949 to 1951. This shows basically how many times each senator or each House member actually voted with people from the other party. Okay? This is 1953 to 1955, 57 to 59, 61 to 63, 67 to 69, 75 to 77, 83 to 85, 91 to 93, 99 to 2001, 03 to 05, 07 to 09, 2011 to 2013. And there you go. That's the entire chart from beginning to end. In case you didn't notice, it's getting ridiculously polarized. People refuse to vote with others of a different party. And that is a concerning trend. I don't see how we reverse something like this. This country is more polarized right now than I believe it has ever been in U.S. history, ever, with the exception of the Civil War era. We have stronger institutions than we did then, obviously, because I don't believe that we're going to break apart like we did in the Civil War. But that may be a bad thing in itself, because during the Civil War, or after the Civil War, they expelled people from Congress who had an interest in sedition or treason. Our institutions are so strong today that that's something that nobody would ever even consider. That's not something that we could accomplish today, expelling somebody from Congress, no matter what they did. There are people in Congress right now who I believe have committed sedition, at the very least, against the U.S. government, like Josh Hawley, for example, and others. But nobody seems to care. Our institutions are too strong to allow something like that to happen. So that's a good thing, and that's a bad thing. It means democracy is going to survive, at least on its face, but it means the seditionists, the anti-democratic people inside the government, are going to have an opportunity to wreak havoc to their heart's content. That's concerning. Anyways, hopefully that answered your first question.
Second question, do you think that there will ever come a time where the Democrats just stop trying to play by the rules the way that the Republicans don't play by the rules, and they just decide that they're going to throw the rule book out and just play the game the same way that the Republicans do? Thanks. Have a great day.
Yeah, I appreciate the phone call. The answer to your question is no. I don't think Democrats are ever going to get to that point. Republicans have gotten to the point that they are now through years of radicalization, intentional radicalization through Fox News, what's his name? The guy that runs it, Rupert Murdoch, I think his name is. Rupert Murdoch set out to radicalize people, did everything he possibly could to make that happen. And here we are. We're radicalized now, like half the country is, actually less than half, probably 35-40% is galvanized and radicalized and polarized as much as you can get. And at this point, we're no longer seeing people go into Congress with the intent to radicalize. Now we're seeing people enter Congress who are the product of that radicalization. The tail is wagging the dog. Rupert Murdoch isn't paying congressmen to say crazy shit anymore. They're just coming out and saying it because they believe it now. And that should be pretty fucking concerning to us.